first place. My name is Yulia. I have 17 years of experience in product sourcing, supply chain, and category management. I look younger than I actually am, and I'm fine with that. I think because I lived in Asia for about 12 years, what's going to happen is when I'm going to turn 60, I'm going to look like I'm 90, right? But until then, I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, I lived in Asia for 12 years. I've been in Germany since 2017, and one of the reasons for coming to Germany was family, because my husband is German. So if I say something bad about Germany, I'm a little bit allowed, because again, German husband. Another reason was that already back in the day, back in 2017, a lot of our customers started switching from manufacturing in China and in Asia to trying to find more local solutions if they're selling in Europe or if they're selling in US. So being in Europe is a very good starting point, because in Europe we have this thing where people like to actually know each other for quite some time before they want to do business with you. They want to see your shufa, they want to see that and this, so it's a longer process, right? So better be on the ground. So, the company, Zignify Global Product Sourcing, I officially founded it around 2 years ago, and in about 2 years we grew to a team of almost 50 people, all women, except that wasn't the point in the beginning, just saying. It wasn't on purpose. My husband is the only guy. You can't really kick out your husband, right? Even when you try. But no. So happened is we did work with more than a few gentlemen, but the fastest one of them quit in 3 hours. He said, I can't handle the stress. We're like, okay, fine. So we are located strategically across the globe. So we have people on the ground in China, in Turkey, in India, Germany, Poland, Costa Rica, Mexico, US, South Africa, and many other countries. And we speak more than 20 languages. And if you're doing sourcing in Europe, you will understand how important it is to speak a local language. Try to go to a French manufacturer or a Polish or a German. They can't speak English, but they will not. It's a matter of a principle. It's like, I'm a foreigner who lives in Germany, and when I go to Ausländerbehörde, I know for a fact when they're being hired, they must speak English, but they never do. In any case, I used to work in a German company called Flixbus. If any of you live in Germany and actually go outside sometimes, you've probably seen the green buses all over the place. So I was opening up one of their markets in Eastern Europe. My husband always worked in industrial automation and in marketing, and later he joined the Zignify team. We are also Amazon sellers since 2014. Initially, our first brand, we all manufacture in China, and our second brand, we manufacture it all made in Germany for many different reasons, but of course, delivery, price, environmental friendliness, and you can sell product for a higher price when it's made in Germany are all very important factors. So, yeah, what we do, we find manufacturers, we help you do quality control, deliver products, blah, 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 blah. That's not the point. What I want to provide to you is some value information that you can actually use in your daily life if you are not using sourcing agents or sourcing agencies, if you're starting up or if you're trying to optimize your processes. So my experience is based on sourcing more than 3,000 different products. We saved our customers more than $300 million. And again, we grew fast, and currently our projects, they divide. It's about 50% of the projects that we do in China and 50 outside. And it's going to be more and more to be outside of China. And this is, one of the points why we're here today. I give you an example of what you can do. For some of our clients, we found a new supplier, and on the first order, we saved $60,000 the order was $500,000. If you're a smaller seller, if you have a smaller business, you can still optimize. Don't only look that you can only optimize when you're very, very, very big. There's always ways to negotiate. You just need to know and how to do it. This is some information that is bragging how good we are, so I'm going to skip that. And I'm going to, if you're interested, you can come to us and then I'll brag later. But what I want to tell you and give you is actually some useful information. So, when a lot of our customers, when they come to us and they say, hey, I did such an extensive search and I got nothing. Okay, how many companies did you contact? 3, 4, 5. I'm like, okay, for China, that might fly. But when you're doing sourcing outside of China, even in any other Asian country, if you're going to Vietnam, to Indonesia, if you're going to India, 5 is not enough. For us, the normal number, and I suggest you to do this as well, in China, we contact around about 30 different manufacturers. Outside of China, what we call the rest of the world, we contact on average 60. Why? Out of 30 manufacturers in China, 29 will respond to you, 29 will give you prices. And you have a very good spread, right? And you can see what is realistic, what is not realistic, what can you do with this. Outside of China, even let's take Europe, let's take Germany, France, Poland. You contact 60 manufacturers continuously. 30 will answer to you, 10 might give you prices after they come back after a 3 months vacation. So the conversion rate from the initial contact to the actually receiving the price in China is like 99.9%. In Europe it's 9%, 10%. So you need to be extremely persistent and you need to contact more manufacturers and you need to be also very creative about it. So you, as a person who sells the product, you need to know everything there is possible to know about your product. Even if you're starting business or if you're a big business and you have managers who do this for you, they need to know everything. Because sometimes you need to get creative on how to search your products. So it might be a baby cod, right, made out of some sort of wood, but the wood manufacturers are so swamped with orders in Europe that they can't produce it. So you need to find some other possibilities of maybe, for Christmas in Germany we have those things, the name of which I can never pronounce, the one that we put on the windows, So you can go to them and see if they have a capacity to produce your cods, right? So in Europe you need to become extremely and very creative. Oh, I can see here. Okay. Manufacturers versus trading companies. A lot of people will tell you don't go to the trading companies. I tell you, be smart about it. Sometimes it's good to go to a trading company when you're not making too much changes to your product. If you're doing, for example, you would like to launch a product and the only thing that you would like to do is maybe make a little bit of a different packaging or just slam your brand name on the product itself. This is not too much customization. And in this case, if your quantities are smaller, the trading company might be your friend because they might have the stock of the product sitting 100, 200, 300, 1,000 pieces. They will slam your brand on it and there it goes. And sometimes they will have a cheaper price because they have this stock sitting there for quite some time. So again, never discount trading companies. Trading companies or distributors in Germany and in Europe, they're a little bit different. They will always have prices higher than the manufacturers. Even when they buy from China, we've seen this a lot, they have quite a high margin for themselves. So, it is extremely important to do background checks on your manufacturers. Do not be lazy, spend a little bit more time. Google is your friend. There's also in different countries, there's different certification that are available online to check if your company is valid or not. Give you a wonderful example. We have a customer, they went insane on one of those funding campaigns on a Kickstarter. They collected crap load of money. The first order was 20,000 pieces and it's $5 per piece, right? They found the manufacturer. They came to us later on to help do the quality control. When we did the quality control, we found that 50% of the goods were not valid and yeah, they need to be redone. The manufacturer said, sorry, I'm bankrupt, goodbye. If the customer would have checked for 5 minutes before working with this supplier, they would have known that the government is after this particular manufacturer because they owe crap load of money to them. So now, what are we doing? We have a lawyer in China and we're helping our customer. We found a different factory for them as well. We produced, everything's good. But we're also going to court in China. I've been there, it's not fun. You as a foreigner never win, even if you have a contract. It just doesn't work that way. If you have such problems in Europe, that's a different story. Because Europeans, they kinda abide by the contract. So if you're speaking something, if you're having a verbal contract with your manufacturer, do not rely on it. If things will go sideways, they will stick with the contract, the invoice, the PI, the Rechnung, call it whatever you want. Whatever is in the contract, they will stick with that. So background check, absolutely. And if you know someone who also works with this company, of course, word of mouth is a tremendous, tremendous advantage, right? So some people say, you know, like bad web page means company is bad. No, you know, the second largest toy manufacturer in Germany, who is our customer, you should see their webpage. It is from the 90s. You can't find anything there, but they sell to Kaufland, they sell everywhere in Germany and all over Europe. It doesn't make them bad manufacturers. It means the business is being run by a 55-plus-year-old white man who has enough money, 2 BMWs, a house in Germany, a house in Spain, and he's very happy. So a bad web page doesn't necessarily mean that the potential manufacturer is bad. It is extremely important, and it doesn't matter where you're doing business, to have, in China it's called guanxi, I suppose in Germany we call it kind of nepotism or networking or something like this. Make a good relationship with your potential manufacturer. My suggestion, you can have an account manager, right? Usually you don't speak, if the factory is a little bit bigger, you don't speak to the boss, you speak to the account or to the sales manager. My suggestion, stalk them. Not in a bad way, but go on their LinkedIn, go on their Facebook, go on their Instagram, see what they like to do, see what kind of personal life there is with them. So you can try and see, do I have similar interests with this particular person or not? Because when you have similar interests with the person, they're more likely to tell you, you know what, I'm gonna help you out. You know, oh, you went hiking to this mountain as well? Oh, you went skiing? Oh, you swim? So for us, personal connections are extremely important. In Germany, it's a lot of business, yeah. But the younger generation, we're trying to, I'm in my mid-30s, but I still count myself, yes, as a younger generation. The younger generation, we're trying to establish connections, networking that will be prolonged, and we try to develop the businesses together. So when you talk to a factory, and it doesn't matter if it's in Germany, in Poland, in Timbuktu, you need to try to make those personal connections, and you need to try to see what can they get out of that relationship. And no, just your money, that's not the answer. Money, yes, we can always make money. I know a person, they're our client in Germany. They started out as a tiny company. They found their manufacturer in Germany who had like this one tiny facility. Right now they have 3 factories because the customer grew, the factory grew, the mutual cooperation helped them skyrocket. And this is the point. This is the goal that you should have with every manufacturer that you're potentially trying to work with. They need to be also flexible, right? In Germany, this is a little bit, in Europe, this is a little bit tougher. And the reason is not because the people are snobs or they don't want to do it, but on a lot of occasions they don't want to do it. But what is the reasoning for not wanting to do something, right? There is always a reason behind it. The reason is they don't know how. Wonderful example. We have a Swedish lady, she lives in Singapore. She designed a really, really cool lamp, like a table lamp for children. Her family partially lives in Germany, owns a manufacturing facility for wooden lamps. They can't produce it. Why? Because they only have the experience of installing, you know, like a normal light bulb like we have in a house. They only have this expertise. They don't know how to put an LED strip into the product. So this is, right, this is the simplest things. Anywhere, will be in China or even in India or Vietnam, boom, 5 minutes done. They don't have the expertise. We found the factories, but this is what you have to deal with. And if the factory doesn't want to work with you, it doesn't mean they don't like you or your quantities are too small. It might mean they don't know how. And if they don't know how, maybe you can help them out. Don't always rely on the manufacturer. Sometimes offer advice, offer suggestions, because then later on they will give back the same to you. Again, this is a big thing. This is why a lot of people have problems in Europe with finding manufacturers. The web pages are outdated. We don't have one unified system. We have WLW or the VLV. We have Euro pages and a few others. But other than this, it's madness. It's a jungle out there, right? So you can search for anything you want, but until you actually get on the phone with the manufacturer and ask them, and then they will confirm it in the email, you don't know if they produce the product. So be persistent. If you don't see something on the webpage, but you see the factory is producing similar goods, call them. They don't pick up, call them again. For us in Europe to get one offer, 3 emails and 4 phone calls. It used to be 3 emails and 3 phone calls, but because the European manufacturers became so busy, they're like, you know what, I have enough orders until 2025, you know, why do I need to talk to anyone? So, licenses and certification. You need to know where you sell. If you sell it, what do you need in order to sell it? If you sell on Amazon, those guys have been getting stricter in terms of the certification that needs to be, you know, provided by you. REACH certification or Ecotex if you're doing textiles, or. If you want certification for making sure that the people are working in the right conditions, ask for it. They're available. BSCI, SA8000. Different countries have different possibilities. But make sure that when you get pricing, when you get quotations, that the manufacturers have the certification and that the price is included. I give you an example. There is certification specifically done for paper, right? And there are 2 prices you can get. One price if you have the certification, and the second price if you have the certification and you can show it on your packaging. 2 different prices. If you don't want to show it on your packaging, it will be cheaper for you. When you work with sourcing agencies, sourcing people, make sure that you get all of the information. Most of the sourcing agencies, they do not provide you direct contact with your factory. They take commission, they're the middleman, they place the order, and you have 0 control over what the hell is going on. Right? And you don't even know if the price that the sourcing agent gave to you is good and true and wonderful. So try to get as much information from your manufacturer. If there is a possibility, always ask them for where the factory is located so you can go and visit yourself if you're in Europe, or you can hire an independent party outside of Europe to go and do the same for you. So, offers versus reality in production. If Always make a sample, please. I think this is, we had a customer with whom we had a problem. He didn't realize that there should be a payment of an import tax when he's importing the goods from outside of EU. We thought that this is something that everyone should know, but when people are starting out, they don't. So, please make sure that you have a golden sample upon which the mass production will be produced, and it doesn't matter where it is. Europeans also can do a bad job, let's put it this way. It doesn't matter where it is, but you need to have a golden sample, and that golden sample needs to be used against the mass production for the quality control before the goods are shipped. Again, we have another very sad example. A friend of ours, not our client, he ordered a sample. The sample was perfection, so like, yes, 5 stars on Amazon all the way. And he was too cheap to invest $200 to $300 to check his mass production order, which was about 100,000 euros. When everything arrived, not only the goods were complete crap, but he also had to pay additional fee to dispose of the products properly, because you can't just throw them out in the trash, right? It had some electronic components in there, so he saved $300, well, and lost about 100K. So please make sure, look, invest more time. If you're starting out and your main job is different, save a little bit more money, but then do it right. Don't go for perfection, but don't skip the important steps that later on will cost you a lot of money. Yeah, sometimes when you're talking to European manufacturers, for example, you're going to the German manufacturer, you ask them, hey guys, do you produce in Germany? Yeah. 1 week later, so where is your facility? Can we go and see? Oh, no, we don't produce in Germany. But we ask you if you produce in Germany. Yeah, you can say made in Germany. Because, for example, they do final assembly in Germany, right? But this is not the question. So it's not only with the Chinese or some of the Asian nations where you need to ask the question. Do not expect, you should never ask a question that just finishes with yes or no. Always demand that the person that you are talking to answers the question in full. Do you produce your products in Germany? Yes, we produce our products in Germany at this location. You can come and visit us. So this is the answer that you should push for later on. It will very much help you to avoid a lot of disputes, and better get this in writing, because that is extremely important as well. From that, when in Europe we're doing something, when we're speaking, we're like, yeah, alles okay, alles good. But when it's in writing, oh, no, it was actually absolutely in a different way. You misunderstood me, you're a bad person, we don't want to work with you. Okay, fine. Again, don't marry a stranger. This is the important point about knowing with whom you're working and trying to build long-term relationship. For me, a relationship with a manufacturer, it's the same like having a partner in life, man, woman, marriage, long-term partner, because sometimes you need to admit you're wrong. Sometimes you need to compromise, but sometimes you need to be pushing. And it is the same with the manufacturer. When you are communicating with them, when you're negotiating and doing all of those things, it's extremely important. So treat it like a marriage. Sometimes give a little gift. Sometimes be a little bit rough. I prefer myself a strategy of a sandwich. Good, bad, good. So the person doesn't feel very, very bad. In many different conversations. So when your supplier, again, did something bad, you call them up and say, hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So did you enjoy your ski trip? Everything great? Oh, by the way, you completely screwed up our order. What are we going to do about this? Wonderful, we're finding a solution. I am looking forward to many years of cooperation with you. If you finish on a good note, it's not going to ruin a person's day, and it's going to extend trust towards you, which is important. MOQ and payment terms. Please do not pay 100% in advance, neither in Europe, nor in China, nor again in Timbuktu. You can always negotiate better terms. If you're working with manufacturers for some time, you can also negotiate deferred payments. 30, 60, 90 days after the products have been shipped out to you. A lot of those things, they depend on your order volumes, which country you produce, and what are your products. If you ordered goods for $1,000, I don't think they will want you to have a deferred payment. If you're working, we have some customers who place one order for 500K, and they're like, guys, you know, we've been working with you for 6 months. They're like, okay, we're okay. You are ordering a lot. You have good credit line and stuff like this. We're okay with deferred payment. So, if anyone tells you something is impossible, don't believe them. It might not be the best way, but a lot of things are possible. You just need to be logical about this and sometimes communicate with experts. There are tons of YouTube videos out there. There are tons of experts out there as well. Okay, we still have time. Almost now. Quickly. Again, I told you, contacting not 3 manufacturers, but 30 or 60, depending on what your product is, where in the world you are, and what are you looking for. Do not only contact manufacturers if you already produce one product and your second product is very similar to your first one. Yes, go to the existing supplier, but contact 30 more. You need to expand your database. You can't make your existing suppliers too comfortable. They always need to be on their tippy toes, right? Because they need to have the motivation. It's like with any of us. When we find something and we're comfortable in, what is happening? We're not growing anymore. We're not developing anymore. We need to take ourselves out of a comfort zone, and the same goes for manufacturers. Tell them, I am still looking for other suppliers. I'm comparing offers. Your manufacturer will tell you, I have the more expensive price, but I have the best quality. I have been hearing this for 17 years, and they were never right. Well, sometimes they were right, but there's always a quality that is on par, or better, or cheaper price, etc., etc. So keep them on their toes. Again, mutual gain. You need to tell them that you're not only going to make money, but I am a person who has this in my plan, this is my forecast, etc., etc. Put yourself in their shoes. If they see that you're a kid who's like, I got some money from my mom and dad, and you know, if I lose them, I lose them. So no person with passion for developing a business. But if they see you have a potential and you want to do something with it, they will give you better offers as well. One of my favorite things is I'm not the boss. We use this quite a lot in our negotiating tactics. When you hit a dead end and you feel like there's a little bit, I can still a little bit move the supplier, I'm not the boss. I need to talk to my boss in order to discuss it. And this works very well. Why? Because the other party usually is also not the boss, and they have pity for you. And they also try to work something out from their side for you. It sounds dumb, but it works. For us, a lot, actually. Important, know the country and know the costs. When you're going to certain countries, please Google or watch a video on YouTube. What are their traditions? How do they communicate? When are the days off? What holidays there are? Even if you do the small gestures, right? For example, for a New Year in India, and you say to them, or Ramadan, or something like this, they will take you closer in their confidence, and they will do a better job for you as well. And plus, you know, for example, in Dubai, since June, they also have days off like we have, Saturday and Sunday. But before June, they worked. They had the day off on a Friday. And a lot of people were calling, like, you know, perfume manufacturers, and they're like, oh, no one's picking up. So you need to understand where you're going. If I'm talking to the Germans, I'm talking about beer and pretzel and lederhose and dirndl, for example, motorcycles, right, mountains and stuff like this. Bribes by manufacturers. If you're working with a sourcing company, please try to kind of fish out the information from them ahead. Do they get an additional commission from the manufacturer or not? Because a lot of them get kickbacks and they're pushing you. Work with this guy, work with this guy. He doesn't have the best price, but he has the best quality. If you hear something like this, please kind of ding, 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 ding. The monkey in the hat should start, you know. And make sure to compare the qualities from several different manufacturers. QC, I told you, emails for calls, have a goal. When you're going into a negotiation with the manufacturer, have a set goal in mind. If you're going into a manufacturer and say, you know what, I want a cheaper price. Okay, here's 1 cent cheaper. You happy? Not so much. Have a goal in mind. How much cheaper? Why? What can we do about this? So don't be kind of washy-wash, but try to identify for yourself a goal. If you have that goal, it will be a lot easier to achieve it, right? It's like with anything. I want to lose weight. What do I, like, it's a specific goal. What do I need to do? Eat better, go for a run. You know, or I can say, I want to look better. That can be different hair, longer legs, makeup and stuff like this. So have a specific goal. Undercover hack, yourself, sourcing companies, your friends, family, you go into your existing manufacturer or the one that you're negotiating with, and you say that you're a completely different client, and you try to get the price from them as well. For us, it works very well because we usually have local people on the ground, we speak local language, etc., and usually people get a better price. So go in there as a different person and try to get a better price, and then come in back and say, hey guys, but you gave me this price. So this works as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm over time anyhow. Does anyone have any questions, maybe?